Let's talk about the New Mutants. I never thought I would see the day that I would actually watch this movie. This movie was supposed to come out when? 2017, 2018? And it is 2020. Almost the end of 2020. We are finally getting the final X-Men movie. And here are my thoughts. So, there's a lot of people out there who are hating this movie. They are just slamming it, saying it's the worst X-Men movie we've gotten. It's terrible. And I really disagree with those people. I don't hate this movie. But I don't like this movie either. I really am not sure how I feel about this movie. If you don't know, The New Mutants is about a group of teenagers who are in this facility with this doctor. And the doctor is trying to help them figure out their powers so they can re-enter society and not be harmful to themselves or the rest of the world. Great concept. Like, as soon as this movie was announced, they were like, this is going to be a horror movie, and everything was being marketed that this was going to be a horror movie. So, like, I was excited, and then when it got delayed like 3 times, I lost the hype, and then they dropped the newer trailer, and I was like, I liked it. I was like, I'm excited. I'm not expecting too much from this movie, but I was excited. And, yeah, this movie's rough. There is a lot of things that I like, and there's a lot of things that I don't like. I think everybody did a really good job acting-wise. I think that Jonathan Byers from Stranger Things having this accent of being, like, a country boy was weird. But I think he did a good job. I think everybody did a pretty good job on their accents. The story itself was pretty good. There were times when the CGI worked, and there were other times that the CGI didn't work. It kind of just feels like the TV movie, like CW quality sometimes, which is unfortunate, but this movie probably didn't have that much of a budget. Anna Taylor-Joy was my favorite part of this movie, hands down. She did a really good job on the acting side, and she was a friggin' bad ASS. She was cool, and when she reveals her powers, she was awesome. Her fight sequences were the best part of this movie. Unfortunately, that's when the good stuff really starts to come to an end. Like, I really liked the powers that they chose for everybody and having these backstories of hurting people and, like, giving them some, like, backstory and some baggage that they're dealing with and trying to overcome. And they can all relate to that. However, this movie is very shallow. They don't really develop too much of anything. Somebody's backstory is like, this is what happened to me. They get like 2 lines of dialogue of this is what happened, and then that's about it. That's all you get for each of these characters, because they're trying to develop all these characters, having this plot progress, have this big CGI fight at the end, all in one movie, and it felt rushed. I mean, the rushedness kind of helps it because there really wasn't a dull moment, like really dull. I don't think this movie was really that exciting, and I can really prove that by the person who was sitting behind me in the theater who snored through pretty much the second act of this movie, and I really couldn't blame them. You didn't really care for any of the characters like I wanted to, but you don't, because nothing's really developed. Things kind of just happen, and then they kind of just disappear. There's a lot of just loose ends. A lot of loose ends in this movie. The CGI fight at the end was filled with a lot of corny one-liners, and honestly had me laughing out loud in the theater. This movie just hurts because this movie had so much potential of being a really good movie. But because it wanted to be a horror movie and it wanted to be a superhero movie at the same time, it never made it to either one of those. It was just in between. It doesn't feel like a superhero movie, and it doesn't feel like a horror movie. There's some scenes that were supposed to be for a horror movie, but they just didn't really nail that feeling because it kind of happened. They kind of come out of nowheres. There wasn't really this build-up. It should have been like this slow burn psychological movie, especially with the twist that this movie had. It really should have been a slow burn. It should have been a little bit longer to strengthen these characters and their dynamic and developing them and the fear and really building up to something awesome. And it just didn't do that. It kind of had like the bullet points of what needed to happen, but never in the script filled in what was supposed to happen in between those bullet points to get from point A to point B. So you are just left with emptiness for pretty much everything in this movie. And the reason why I disagree that this is the worst X-Men movie isn't the worst X-Men movie, because I definitely feel like this movie has the potential of being like a guilty pleasure, like my friend Phil said after he watched it. Like I kind of agree with him that I think it could be a guilty pleasure. I think this would be a fun, enjoyable movie to just watch again and again because it's quick and you like the characters, but there's just not enough for each of the characters to really care about them. And yeah, this movie's just the shallow emptiness left when a studio postpones and reshoots and all that nonsense. This movie really didn't have too much of a chance. So it's quite unfortunate that this is the final Fox X-Men movie. I'm really excited to see what the MCU does with the X-Men. Yeah, I'm going to have to give this movie a 2 out of 5 stars. It's not that good. It's a pretty bad movie, but I still think that it's worth the watch, especially if you're an X-Men fan. Just finish the movies for them, and support the poor actors who are gonna get backlashed for this movie, because it's not terrible, but it's not good. Yeah, if you want to check out New Mutants, it is playing in theaters now. Go check it out.